Okay, we will open the meeting for Monday, December 12th. I'll entertain a motion to accept the agenda as may be amended.
I'd like to, I was going to say the zone, so we have the U.S. Forest here, right?
I have not seen him yet.
Just a minute.
I don't see Chris on.
It's Christopher Matt. I don't see him yet.
Okay, is it further down or no?
No, he's not.
Okay. So I'd like to move Christopher to whenever he gets in.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right, so for now, let's move, since he's not here, let's move number 8 to 7,
Okay.
and then 7
Okay.
down, and we can keep on going from there.
okay. You good with that, Chris?
Yep.
Okay, all in favor of the agenda as amended, please say aye.
Aye.
Entertain motions to accept.
We don't have any minutes today.
No minutes today? We were caught up on the last one?
Yeah. Well, no,
Okay.
I owe you, there's like 3 or 4. We had a bunch of those little meetings and just trying to get them
Yeah.
all organized to get them to you.
Okay, so whatever meeting minutes have been tabled, I do not have any select board member concerns that we're not addressing.
Yeah.
Me neither.
Okay. For those of you that are zoomed in,
Or David, since you're the whole crowd.
if there is something on the agenda that, something that you would like to bring up that's not already on the agenda, can you unmute yourself or put up a hand? Matt, you have your hand up, so go ahead. Can you unmute so we can hear you? Where'd he go?
Matt, sometimes he has problems and he goes to the chat.
There's nobody in chat yet.
Nope.
Matt, you have your hand raised, anything?
He had it, but he lowered it.
He lowered it.
Lowered
He lowered it.
Okay.
Okay, he may not have known that. Okay.
David, you good for now, or what?
Well, I can introduce myself, but I think we all know each other. I retired from
But they
the,
don't.
I retired to the,
Yeah.
from the fire department
Right,
in February.
yeah.
And as we're going into a municipal chief, I wanted to thank this board and all the other boards I've worked with over the years for supporting the volunteer fire department. Going back to Dave Lewis, walked in and said, I know there's no money for an engine, but we blew one. You know, where do you go from there? I mean, Dave's door was always open and ready to hear us over the years.
Okay.
Kathleen Ramsey, after that, continued the open door policy where he needed something from the town or et cetera. Jumping to Dick Horner, he made sure when he sat in that chair, and now Chet
Yeah.
is open and ready to hear whatever the fire department had to say, for me personally. But the thing that a lot of people may not remember the fire phone systems, that it rang in 10 different locations, and unless you answered it physically at your location, it never stopped ringing till the call was disconnected. I want to you know, Truman Bates, Helen Bates, Terry McDonald, the Leets, my home, the Felton home, Red Rock, because it had a night person on, was a good one for the winter, so we put one in there. And the Zach family, all had those phones ringing until 911 took effect.
Wow.
Yep.
And I just think it was an amazing thing. I always pick on my wife where she pages out. I don't remember. I've fallen in God, can't get up, but get there. Was her page. It worked. It worked.
You did, yeah.
So, thank you very much.
I want to say thank you for all your time.
Yeah, thank you, David.
Thanks for all your time.
All
And
right.
I appreciate it. Thanks for the heads up, and my wife's out in the car.
All right.
We always want to hear what you have to say on this.
Just because you're retired doesn't mean you don't have any input, so,
Yeah, there you go.
you know, come on down and see the new
Well,
chief.
At this meeting, you have input. I don't know about the other meeting.
Oh, yeah. Well,
So-
good. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Appreciate your
Matt's
time.
hand's back on.
Matt, your hand is back up.
Can you hear me now?
We
can hear you now.
We can hear you.
All right, sorry, this is like 3 different mutes.
Yeah.
The River Road project's going along pretty well. I emailed the town manager the status today. I'd like a little bit of help on the flats where the reeds are, down the other end. If tomorrow or the next day, the road services guy could nick a hole in that dam there, I'm ready on the other side of the swamp.
Okay, we can, we'll, just, if you give me a call tomorrow, we'll coordinate it with Ricky.
Okay, I'll send it to you in an email, is that okay?
That works for me.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate your help.
Yeah. Okay. So Grisha, do you have liquor control for us tonight?
So I have, it looks like Jeff Potter is on
Yep.
for to answer questions regarding the second-class liquor license that's was submitted by Sunrise Homeowners Association for the Sunrise Cafe. So if Jeff could
She didn't give me
explain
anything for this one.
why you're applying
Okay.
for the license.
Okay.
Sure. We had created a relationship with Harpoon last year, and after they just acquired Long Trail, we're building that relationship with them and also introduced them to Killington as well, to reinforce their position there. And one of the requests they had from us was to be able to sell some of their beer occasionally. We don't think it's going to be a lot. It was just a request they had from us, and that's why we applied for the second-class license.
So Jeff, this is Jim Half, also the interim zoning administrator. And, you know, we had a hotel come in and ask us for selling inside the building, but only staying in that room. He had to come in and fill out paperwork, and it's on record of where the location is and everything. So that's like a bar opening up inside. You have a bar in Sunrise. Now where is this liquor going, not liquor, but bar, selling beer? Is it tapped beer going into whatever they call them nowadays? Is it cans of beer?
All we're selling is like 6 packs of beer.
And where are you selling it out of?
Out of the Homeowners Association, the main office. It's for takeout.
It's for takeout. So is it open to and these are all the questions we had, and since I'm the zoning administrator, you know, is it open to just anyone that comes in? I mean, you're not gonna,
Well, I
you
mean,
don't know who's
technically,
coming in.
Yeah, I mean, technically, it's open to anyone because our restaurant is. Typically, it's only people that are staying in our community.
Right.
So, Jeff, this is Chris Carr speaking.
Yep.
Typically speaking, with the Department of Liquor Control, you cannot have a second-class license associated with a first and third-class license.
Okay,
So
that's
you-
news to me.
Okay, they have to be separately invoiced products in order so that they can differentiate between what's being consumed on-premise and off-premise.
Absolutely, and we understand that, and that's why there's a separate area that any of this would be stored at and
Okay.
sold from.
Okay, then it could be totally possible. What needs really is to have the areas defined, and I know that's been an issue on the current licensing position, but you'll need to have the Department of Liquor Control visit it. And I know I've been through this with them about having multiple licenses on a property, and it's nothing that they have ever been in favor of, but that temperature could have changed. So
Right.
I would probably really, I don't know, my suggestion is before the board approves, is that maybe the state approves of that ability.
Yeah, and when we had this a while ago, we asked you to come in, but also, I think, to give a call in to the zoning, me. Where I see it is that you're actually opening up, you're changing the use of an office to a retail store. And I don't know what that does to your parking for the area. I don't know if Sunrise fell underneath Act 250, I'd have to look into this.
No, we fall under Act 250.
You fall on Act 250, so there's, I don't know who you would speak to, but one of the questions would be going to them and saying, I want to take X office, that was an office space. I don't know if that was Shirley's old office or whatever up front there, or the lodging room office.
I mean, really, all it is a cooler in our storage room, and that's the only thing that we would have beer in, and we'd sell it from our office.
Right. So I think...
Because we knew it had to be separate from the restaurant.
Right, and I'm not getting into, it sounds great that it's separate from the restaurant, and it's a separate place or whatever, but I've got people coming in and they're changing the use of what the buildings were supposed to be used for, and now it could be, people from, I don't know, Bridgewater, if 10 o'clock at night they drive over to Sunrise, I don't know how they're going to look at it. That's my main concern. I think you would have to come in and fill out a form with me for you're opening up a new business. You're changing the footprint inside from an office or a closet to a refrigerator selling beer. I would think that's a separate cash register and stuff. But what does the state look at that and say, how many cars are supposed to be for a retail Class 2 beer distributor? I don't know.
And I don't know either. It was a request that was asked to us by Harpoon.
Right.
If it's going to be too much of an issue, we'll just tell them, no, we can't do it.
I mean, I'm trying to help you.
Because personally, I really don't care whether we do it or not. We were just trying to play nice.
I think it's a great amenity to the guests staying there, because it is a distance for them to travel.
Yeah, right.
And maybe you end up wanting more than just beer. I see no issue with that, but I just think they have to think about the licensing.
The state end of it.
Absolutely. We knew it had to be totally separate from the restaurant.
Doesn't Harpoon or Long Trail or whatever, aren't they able to have certain sales days or whatever? There's a liquor license for certain days or whatever where they can come in and sell underneath their license or whatever, retail, whatever.
I don't know about that. I'd have to check with them.
You know what? If you give a call to me tomorrow.
What's the best number?
Well, everybody else has it. 802-282-8607. I mean, you can just Google my name and you're going to find it.
Okay.
All right? So just give me a call.
282-6807?
No, 8607.
Okay.
But take a look on the Department of Liquor and look underneath licenses and different types and special. And we'll look through it together tomorrow or whatever. I mean, I want to see it go, but I also don't want to upset the folks at Act 250 if we approve something.
Trust me, we don't. They aren't the type of people you want to upset.
Right.
A good
I've rode with them before, so.
good resource for you on the state side would be Martin Prevost too. He does the licensing, and he can the investigators all refer to him. He knows what to do and how to do it, and I would highly suggest speaking to him.
But on the first, if we can get an email with a drawing or something of the building and where exactly it's going to be and the setup, and that can get us going one area. How big of an area is it? 1 6-pack, 2 6-packs?
Well, it's a regular cooler that would probably take maybe 26 packs.
Yeah.
It's a standard size cooler.
Yeah, okay. So let's try to figure a way out tomorrow.
Okay.
All right, but we just wanted you here tonight so you could let us know
Absolutely.
what you were looking at.
No, absolutely.
It was scaring me if you were going to sell 6-packs over the bar.
No, we weren't doing that. It was totally separate.
Yeah.
And like we said, it was requested by us. It wasn't anything we were actively searching out to do. Trust me, we have enough stuff to do out having that as well, so.
All right.
But we do want to expand on our relationship with Harpoon. And
Okay. Give me a shout tomorrow.
absolutely.
Thanks a lot,
Thank you very
Jeff.
much.
Thanks, Jeff. And Chris
Have
is
a good
here,
night.
so we're going to go right to 7.
Yep.
Hi, Chris.
Hello. Where do you want me?
this
Here?
is-
There?
You can
This
sit
is,
right in front of that.
Right in front of the mic?
U.S.
All right.
Forest Service, Chris Mattrick, I think I'm pronouncing it correctly.
Got it.
Okay.
Well, good evening. Thank you. Sorry I was a few minutes late. Hi, Kate. Hi, Jordan. Hi, RJ, who are online. I went to the library, which was the last place that I met with the Killington Selectboard, and I have the notes here from it like a year.
Yeah, I thought I remember
August 3rd,
seeing you.
21. So I went to the library and it was dark, and then I went to the town hall and it was locked.
Yeah.
But luckily, the town employee was working late. I rapped on the window and they came down and they're like,
The guy behind you?
I'm on the access road.
Well,
I followed you.
Yeah.
Delivered you.
Otherwise, I wasn't going to be here because I left my cell phone in my office, so I couldn't even call. So thank you for having me tonight. I have a few things to chat about with the Select Board, and the first one is the one that involves Kate from Public Lands and Jordan and RJ, who are involved with Vermont Huts Association. And that is one of the proposed actions in the telephone gap integrated resource project, which is what last time the primary thing I was talking about when I came to visit our next big landscape scale projects. One of the proposed actions that will be coming out in the scoping notice, hopefully at the end of January, is reconstruction of a hut at the old lodge location up at South Pond, and it would be owned and operated by Vermont Huts Association. Affiliated with that is the use of the primary logging road that came down to the end of Rockwell Road, where the log landing was, where Patrick Dupuis was having when his logging operation was going on. That's one of the primary places that he came to. We have a proposed action to reconstruct that log landing as a parking lot for administrative access to get up to South Pond. The other access via Hadley Lane is less than desirable and a little tricky for a number of reasons, crossing some different right-of-ways, private land, and then the road itself is a bit rough in places. So we have a proposed action that's going to look at reconstructing that parking lot. And the town road jurisdiction ends right as that kind of alley going into that log landing was constructed. So what I'd like to chat about is the possibility of entering into a partnership with the town, helping us maintain that access road into it and that parking lot in the winter. Potentially plowing it. You do plow the Sherburne Trail parking lot in the winter for the use there, and I was wondering if we could enter into a similar type of arrangement for Rockwell Road. The Forest Service doesn't have the right equipment to plow that type of infrastructure. Just hoping that the Select Board and the town might be willing to assist us in that regard. It's just a proposal at this point that, we're not through the decision process with Telephone Gap, so I'm just trying to get out in front of it a little bit. Just wondering what your thoughts might be on that.
Well, the first question is, would we have equipment if this road is not up
I
to
should
town
probably pass around.
standards?
the
Yeah,
map
I mean,
that shows, like
I don't know where we're talking. I know where Rockwell is.
Staring at it. This is the very end of Rockwell Road. That's the end of maintenance on Rockwell Road.
Okay, thank you.
I got one more. You guys get right over it.
Okay.
Okay,
It's
so
about 200 feet. RJ, was it about 200 feet?
That Kime is up here.
Okay.
So we plow this whole road past Ives. That goes up to the old Kimes house, right, past Ives? Roger Rivera is on Ives.
Yeah.
So you're talking down below, that's really towards is that Bianchi's house over to the,
Right.
to the left over here?
So, is this clearing your parking area?
Yeah, that clearing is the cleared log landing.
Bianchi's live on the road going into the golf course.
Yeah. Yeah, they're down below there.
Well, I'm looking at circles, so what are you talking about, down here?
The end, basically, Rockwell Road kind of ends in this area,
Right.
And then 200 feet beyond, we'd be going down a driveway, basically, in a parking lot, is what
Yeah,
I'm...
right. It would be a one-lane.
Chris, can you just point to me here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And RJ, I think, had something to say
Yeah, I
a
was just,
second ago.
I'm sorry, I'm not sure if folks can hear me, but yeah, I think, like a desktop review, we had
and then this
figured out like between 2 and 3.
This is the log landing right here.
Okay, so this is coming the other way, so it's
Okay.
coming.
Let's hear what RJ has to say.
Yeah.
No, he's trying to talk while we're talking.
Hey,
Go ahead, RJ.
yeah, hey, thanks for, yeah, I think, just reiterating, I think what Chris had said there is, it ends up being, I think, roughly between 200 and 300 feet of additional plowing, so just continuing down Rockwell through what equates to more or less kind of a driveway type situation, and then it would open up into that parking area, which, Chris, correct me if I'm wrong here, I think will be roughly 50 by 50 to accommodate about 10 vehicles. And so that's kind of like the general dimensions that we're looking at.
And that's open to the public?
And that's open to the public, not looking for any kind of like summer maintenance or anything like that. It would simply be the winter plowing. You know, like if it needs to be resurfaced or re-gravelled or something, we would take care of that. Similar to our arrangement at the.
And that's a parking area for people to park to hike in?
People to park, hike in up to where the proposed South Pond hut is located. There would also be, you could also access the long trail in a sort of roundabout way from that location, and some other proposed trails, the Velomont Trail, which is that state end-to-end.
Yeah, so the Valmont Trail, that was when you were with us.
Way up here?
You-
Is that what this is?
Yeah, so it's, this is this way coming here from your house up and then passing Ives.
No, it just, upper left-hand corner, it looks like another structure. I was
Yeah.
just curious about.
So the
access to
Valmont
that.
Trail, I think you were talking about, or whatever, a year ago, or we've been talking about it. And this is connecting like Killington to Rochester and all that other stuff on the bike trails or whatever.
Right, so yeah, the Velomont Trail would come down through kind of the Pittsfield, it's
Yeah.
Chittenden, but like the Pittsfield side of the hill, upper
Right.
Michigan, and then across where the Darning Needle Trail is, if you know where that old
Yeah.
snowmobile trail used to
Yeah.
be. And then it would peel off towards where the hut is at South Pond, and then drop down to the elbow in that kind of direction there. So you would be able to access it via this road that's going in, so that could be, it would be an access point for that as well.
Right, so you're talking about the road ends up past Roger's old A-frame, up that area, and then it cuts in about 300 feet, 379 to the edge of the parking area?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's map estimated, just with a ruler
Yeah,
and a
yeah.
map, roughly, yes.
And the parking lot is 50 by 50?
Yep.
The trail is what? This actual road from where it stops, how wide are you opening it up for, you know?
For the administrative access up to.
What you're asking us to plow in the wintertime?
The drive-
Single lane,
Single lane?
single lane.
Like 20 feet?
Yeah, probably 20 feet.
What are we?
Between 14 and 20 feet.
So my question would be logistics is, what are we using to plow Rockwell and that right now?
That's not a truck that's going to go in there.
It's too big, right? So and to me, you'll be sending in a different truck.
This would be, I would, if we were going to go down this road, we actually contract out the plowing at the bike trails, and I'd be looking at expanding that to this. It's all in the same light. Like, I think we would have to actually hire somebody to do this. This is not something that would, with
because of
any
size
vehicles that are at this end of town, we don't have the right vehicles out there normally.
So even if the road was wider, the parking lot would still be a limitation on the size of your vehicles?
It's a tandem with a wing.
Okay, yeah, so you're not gonna be able to get the.
Yeah, and I was just getting at, what do we send up that area?
Yeah.
They don't want to send a separate, a town sends up the wing, and then all of a sudden another little one has to come in
Yeah,
behind it or whatever.
I would see this as a contracted, like a one-ton type of setup going in
Where does the
there.
wing at, when the tandem goes up there now, does it go down Rockwell?
Yes, and it turns around there, and it's stuff and snow
Okay.
all around the corner.
I mean,
So the reality is it would be opened up to that point, and then towards the end of the storm, somebody would have to come in and clean it up.
yeah, you're not looking for it to be cleared like the way we clear our roads. You're looking for it like at the end of a storm to be opened up.
Feel like similar to what you're doing at Sherburne Trails, right? You're not doing
And
that
that's really at the
throughout
end of the storm, we go, we clean it up,
At the end.
Okay.
and then every once in a while, we have to send the loader out there to throw
Yeah, I
snow
mean,
piles
as
back.
far as I'm only one of 3 select board members, and you're saying this is just like, you know, it's not written in stone at this point or
Yeah, the
whatever?
decision hasn't been made,
Yeah, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, we're all about recreation in the town, and there's the hiking and the biking and everything else, and, you know, I don't see any reason why, you know, I wouldn't say no to this. I just have to figure out,
Yeah,
you
it's
know, what's it gonna
logistics, we gotta
cost
work
us.
the
It's just
logistics.
the logistics and adding it to, you know, what we already do for on Route
Right.
100.
Could just get bundled under that same agreement that we have.
Yeah.
So my question would be, because we're obviously in the middle of budget season,
Yeah.
is this for next winter? Like, do we need to be preparing for that budgetarily now, is my question.
Kate, next winter, or RJ, next winter, so the decision point on telephone gap is probably late November of '23 at this point. So, but by the time if things go as we kind of crystal ball them out there, we would be reaching a decision point in November of '23. Would we need that parking lot next winter, or it would actually be the next season that we would be talking about?
It'd be winter of 24, 25, because we won't be able to build the hut
Right.
until telephone
Yeah.
gap is approved.
Yeah.
So it'd be building in the spring of, or summer of 24.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be for this budget cycle.
So that, yeah, and that, so that'll give us the time, and we know it's coming, so that'll, then we can work that out.
And you can either bid it or look at our thing doing it, since it's after the storm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying that. And so we could agree to follow through once everything on your end is in order.
All 3 of us
can
could
get a
say
cost.
yes now, and then you might deal with another 3 in 2 years.
You 3 have said yes now, so I guess they can undo what you...
I don't see a pen in my hand, but I would not have a problem with this at all.
I don't either.
I mean, this is what the town is about,
Yeah.
so that's not an issue at all, and I don't think any other board members, future or past, would have a problem with this either.
Very good. Thank you. Appreciate that very
Thank you.
much. Appreciate the partnership.
Yeah.
I have a couple other things. Kate, Jordan, RJ, unless you want to listen to me babble on about other things, or you have other things with the board.
So now for this partnership, we want our land back in the backyard of the town hall.
How'd you know where I was going?
Because they were surveying when I went out there and asked.
I know. When they were out there serving, they go, "Have you talked to Killington yet?" I said, "Well, I had to cancel the appointment before but I had to go on a fire assignment, so I never."
It's taken up 2/3 of our wellness farm.
So, yeah, so it appears from the survey that this is the AT corridor boundary, and you're overlapped a little bit. Your uses of mowing and parking is overlapped a little bit on the Appalachian corridor, trail corridor boundary. Couple of options, in my mind, pretty simple to take care of. You know, you can stop using that area, would be one, let it revert. We could enter into a special use permit with the town, which we already have one for, I think,
The boardwalk and
the
all that.
river walk, the river trail, which would just be, you know, you would apply, fill out a simple form, apply, we would look at it, and just, you'd have a special use permit to occupy that area of the corridor. It's not proximate to the corridor, the trail itself, it's not nearby, so it's not impinging on users of the trail in any ways. So there shouldn't be any significant issue with issuing that permit. So,
So we're gonna make a partnership. As long as we do this, you do that. Thank
yeah,
you.
sort of. Yeah, we'll take a little, Well, I'll take a little paperwork to take care of both of them, but yeah, I mean, unless you were like, oh, yeah, we can just shrink the parking lot and stop
Nah,
mowing that area.
we kind of like that there.
Okay.
That's my parking
And
spot.
actually, the bigger issue is our snow storage is in that spot.
Okay, that's where you push snow to.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
And consider
All right, so I
ahead
guess
with the town hall.
What I'll do is,
When that becomes like
I'll
a
send,
senior and rec use, we're gonna need that
Chet?
parking.
send you like that special use application form, you
Yep.
do a quick, fill it out, send it back to me, and we'll get the ball rolling on
Okay.
that. Okay. Yeah, so
Is that something that I find online, or is it something you'll email to me?
I'll email it to you.
Okay.
Yeah, you could find it online, it'd be easier.
I don't
for
know
me to
which
email
one's
it.
harder.
He's going to email it to me, and I'm liking that.
Anything on the website can be done. And then the two last things real quick, and then I'll let you get on with your meeting. One I already mentioned was telephone gap. So that project has moved along to a point where we're just about ready to send out the scoping notice, which is the proposed action, and the invitation for public comment to towns. You'll get a copy of it, as will people, residents will get a copy, people who are interested get a copy. That'll kick off a 45-day public comment period, and that there will have a public meeting within that time frame as well. Gather input on what people think about the proposed action, which has a whole variety of, recreational improvements, trail improvements, some watershed work, some timber management, some aquatic organism passage, a couple of special uses, the hut, and then a maple tapping proposal down in Mendon. So it has a variety of different things in it. If you've been paying attention to the media, you've probably seen it's gotten some attention in the media about the forest management piece of it, just like the state has been getting attention about the Camel's Hump forest management piece as well. We've gotten some attention as well. Hopefully the proposed action will help clear up some of the kind of misinformation that's out there. People are kind of guessing what we're proposing at this point, but the select board will get a copy of that, and we hope you'll be interested in commenting on it, because there are some activities that take place in Killington and some that may affect Killington. There's one action that's not in there that we know will be a comment coming from the Chittenden Dammers Snowmobile Club and the VAS, and that's the snowmobile connector to come up the access road. So that would be great to hear from when you do see it from the town of Killington. That's not in the scoping document, but if I'm sure you're familiar with that, and it would be good if the town is supportive of that you kind of
The
put
town manager already wrote a letter in support
for them.
For them, yeah,
crossing
for the
crossing the
dammers.
floor and going up and down
Yeah.
along the road.
So
When we
we've,
get it into our action, but when that comes out, you might say that just simple as we support, if you do, we support, the.
Well, we can just send them a copy. When
Yeah,
you send him,
you could
if you-
just send a copy of
Yeah,
that.
if you send him the
Yeah.
other thing,
Yeah,
then he'll
then-
send you the letter we sent off for
We'll
support.
exchange paper.
Yeah, for
That's it.
support.
we'll exchange electronics.
There was, because we
Electronic paper.
we had to write it to something because the
It was to the dammers, the actual,
cameras were
they were
going
making
for
the
some kind of
application.
application grant thing or something.
They were, and we were requiring them, which is why it didn't get to us in time to get it into the proposed action. We needed to be sure from them that they had all the private landowner permission before we would include it, because the last thing we want to do is approve something, and then there's no access to our section of it, right? So that's probably one of the reasons they were asking for that.
Yeah, we did give them a letter.
Yeah. And so it should be the last part of January, we're thinking that scoping notice will come out. And then the last thing is, I don't know if the town has heard any issues or complaints with Thundering Falls, the boardwalk, but we have had a couple of boards on the corners crack and fall out. So it's nothing that affects the town. If you do hear something, we have patched them, and we're developing a plan to kind of fix those weakened section. It's that Trex decking, and on the corners it gets cut at angles, and where it gets really narrow at the end, it's a weak spot, and they're starting to break right there. I mean, it is 10 years old at this point, so we would expect to have some of that. But we do have a plan to fix it more permanently. Right now, there's just kind of plywood patches on it, but.
The stuff that was donated there was Correct Deck, I believe.
Correct, yeah, I used
Yeah,
Trex.
it was called Correct
Generic
Deck.
term, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, so
I
we're,
would take a look at, I put Correct Deck at my house, in 2002.
Yeah.
For some reason, around moisture and water and stuff, the stuff starts to
Degrade a little bit.
Degrade.
Yeah. We looked, we're not even sure we can get that anymore. That
Correct Deck is out of
So we're trying to
business.
match it to one of the other companies. I guess there's a reason for that.
It had a
right?
lifetime warranty.
That tells you something.
They're out of business.
And it may be that where these things get so narrow, you might just need a wider support underneath.
Yeah, or
so
additional
that you could
support.
attach in a thicker part of the wood.
Yeah.
Having built a lot of stairs and ramps in my
Yeah,
life.
it's, and it's every place where it's narrow is where it's broken. So we're looking at getting wider planks so that even when it does narrow, we'd have a fatter piece.
I'm telling you, the stuff itself in the middle starts disintegrating.
We saw that in some of the boards that
It
that broke
was
off.
made out of
We
like
kind rub
old
it and it'll fall apart.
mail post office plastic stuff.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be different or whatever, and it corrodes.
Yeah.
I just had to redo a bunch of decking stuff,
Okay.
So that's all that I had, unless you have something you want to chat about with me about National Forest Management or anything.
Any update on bears?
That'd be the state.
That's the state,
Oh,
not him.
state.
He just forest.
You got problems with bears?
Well, I don't.
Not now.
I don't know.
Sleeping.
I think we're
good.
You're good?
I don't think we can actually do a motion on something that hasn't been approved on their end yet.
Right, yeah.
But
There's
we've got
not-
three of
we're
us
not-
that are
no
in the
action.
report.
Just like preliminary, like if you were to say, no way, we would, try to come up with a different solution, but happy to see that you're amenable to
Yeah.
potentially taking care of that.
Be a great partnership.
Partnership,
You
yeah.
give us our land, we'll help you out there.
Sounds good.
okay.
Thank you all for your time this evening.
Thank you.
Have a great one. Glad you could find us.
Yeah.
Just so you know, this is where we meet from now on.
This is where you, until next time I come, and then you'll
Yeah.
mix it
Moving
up
again.
again on me.
Well, I sent you an email this afternoon when I realized you might go to the wrong place,
Yeah,
but you didn't have your phone.
I didn't see that one.
I was like, oh, I wonder if he remembered to bring
So
it.
this is really good. I mean, we lost half our group when you were on.
Yeah, show the audience for you tonight. I see you still have Greg Russ up there, though, so.
Yeah, that's.
Oh, that's Jerry.
That's Jerry Russell.
Oh, okay.
She's our senior citizen.
She keeps us in line.
Oh, very good.
Yes.
All right, thank you, Chris.
All right, take care.
Okay, so,
So I have news on number 8.
well, that's where we are, zoning amendments.
Zoning amendments. So I went to the planning commission meeting the other night, last week. And when they were looking at the district of the business or whatever, up and down the Killington Road, they were really looking at the whole corridor of saying to lower the setbacks from the fronts and the sides to where there's more commercial building that could happen. They realized that they made a mistake, and they only, for some reason, like everyone else, looked at the Killington Road. They didn't look at going towards Woodstock on Route 4 in the flats. So in the Route 4, there's 2 areas. There's the hamlet, and then there's the Valley District.
Okay.
So, say the hamlet has like a 50 or 60-foot setback off the road. The Valley District has 150 feet
Off the road?
off the road and 200 feet from the sides. Yeah, I know, but then there's other areas, like the church on Mission Farm Road is like with,
Let's put a pole in the middle of an acre,
you know.
if you meet those setbacks.
So I went to the meeting, and they questioned this, and they were like, oh, we forgot to do it. Can you do it, Jim, at the next select board meeting? So I reached out to Jim Barlow, and he basically said that in his opinion, changing a setback in a single zoning district would not be a substantial change in the concept, meaning, or extent of the proposed amendment under this statute. So he says, given this, I would recommend changing the setback at tonight's hearing, and assuming no other changes will be made, adopting the proposed amendment with the changed setback after a final public hearing held at least 14 days from tonight's hearing. So in the two zones along Route 4 that are called the
Hamlet and
the Hamlet and
Valley.
the
Valley.
Valley districts, we lower the setbacks to 20 feet on the front and 100 feet on each side.
Where does the Hamlet zone run?
Hamlet is you, I believe.
Basically, it's from like the water wheel up onto the Route 4 onto River Road. That little
Okay.
section there that used to have the post office.
Yep.
It's that whole section there, and then the one down by Craig, the whole end of
Remember
the.
the camp that got,
Yeah.
you know how the
Yeah.
camp
The camp
got-
was in the Hamlet. Now, Hamlet-wise, your side setback is only 25 feet. For when you're saying the side setback, that's only for the Valley District.
Right, for the Valley District.
And
So
where
this-
does
your
the valley
setback's
run?
25 currently?
Right now, the side setback on the Hamlet is 25, the front is 50.
So we're saying to go to 20 feet like we are on the Killington, well, 15 feet on the
You're
Killington
on
Road.
15 on the Killington
So
Road.
15 feet, just like we are on the Killington Road.
And the Valley District is 100 front, 200 side,
The,
200 rear.
And the valley goes from
The
the
rear,
water wheel down?
Basically, the Valley District connects Hamlet to Hamlet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And except for a small section that's residential, but actually, there's a Valley District that's like the first 50 feet off of Route 4, all along the southern side.
Yeah.
And then everything on the other side is Valley District.
so what's kind of crazy about it is you see Hamlet, Valley, Hamlet.
Yeah.
So you got like, what, 50 feet? And then 150 feet, and then 50
No,
feet?
100, it's 50 and 100 even.
I think it was 100, I thought it was 150.
And how
I'm just
does-
looking at what this one says
How
right
does the
now.
river going through there impact
Well, they're
setbacks?
still going to have those setbacks from rivers.
Like, you still have the buffer is 50 feet from the high water mark.
Right, I'm just saying, we need to be clear about, if we change setbacks, which I'm fine with, but we need whoever goes in there to know that they still have to meet whatever the river setbacks.
Yeah, well, that-
And
That's not in our stuff.
That's not, yeah, that's it. And that's where it says in the zoning that you need to meet the other state and federal agencies' guidelines. But I'd like to change the front setbacks to 15 feet on the Hamlet and in the valley. And then what is
Both of
the,
them are to 20?
yeah,
or
go
50.
to 20. All right, and then the setbacks on the Hamlet is what on the side?
25 and 25.
25 and
So that's more,
25.
that's like the other ones still, so I
Yeah,
don't, that's not a
and
big.
then in the valley,
Both of those are side 200, rear 200.
right. So, I mean, what Lisa and I were talking about was saying 100 on those there,
in the valley.
on the valley. Because, I mean, you're closer to like other,
The only issue comes into minimum lot size, I think, is 2 acres. No, minimum lot area is 10 acres, so it doesn't really matter.
no.
Yeah,
It's 10 acres.
Wouldn't
Two-
affect it.
And the Hamlet is 1 acre.
I just think the other side of it, the corridor, the right-of-way the state has going down through there is massive.
All right.
Yeah.
So like, the state right-of-way is actually like right next to the water wheel sign. That's how wide it is.
Yeah, but when we're saying 20 feet, right?
It's from the
From the
right-of-way.
right-of-way, it's not
Right.
from the property line.
I get it.
So people have to realize that it's not from their property line, it's from the right-of-way. So through that area is the state. So there could be areas that you may be 80 feet in before you can do something.
Yep.
And then from that 80 feet, if that first 80 feet is the state right-of-way, then you have to be 20 feet from there.
From that.
Right.
So
But,
that would be a good reason to reduce it to.
right, because right now, if the state is like, so the water wheel, right? If it's to there, right, to the sign, and then if you were in the Valley District, it would be another 150 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're an existing nonconformity already.
No, because he's in,
But it's a 50 feet still from the right-of-way, so he's probably right in that.
well, we're not bringing him into it.
No, I'm just
So-
saying, like, reality is any of those buildings on there
Right.
are right
Yeah,
up
so I
against
would-
it.
Oh, I would think they are.
You know, and
I mean,
that
there's a
would-
drawing down there, I mean, you can find.
So to me, that's when I went to the planning commission, they're like, oh my God, we just got so focused on the Killington Road, but we meant for this. Because now if you turn left towards, on Killington Road, left onto Route 4, heading to Pico,
Yeah.
all those stores are like within 25 feet of the road,
They're close. Yeah.
you know, so,
Well, it's partly the drop-off behind,
yeah.
you know.
So I would like us to, we don't have to send it back to the planning commission. Ed Boll for Rutland Regional will write up the 20 feet from the fronts, and then for both of those districts, and 100 feet on the sides for the valley.
My only comment would be, is because of the nature of either the slopes and the wetlands and/or stream in that area, a smaller setback even than the 100 might be okay, because if you got to move to one side or the
What is
other,
the setback in the,
those are 25s.
why
I
don't
think, I was going to suggest 50, because it allows somebody to move, you got to have a 10-acre site anyway to build on.
right.
So being able to move laterally might be helpful, because you got so many different other constraints.
Well, you gotta have a 10-acre site, but there could be lots in there that are already formed,
Correct.
that are
And
less than 10 acres.
then the thing is, if there was a 2-acre lot, and they have to have 100-foot setbacks, and then you got wetland on one side,
Right,
it's a
yeah.
whole nother world.
I mean, to me, it's to make this booklet easier, that if I'm looking down the Route 4 section, I'd rather just see the whole section be 20 feet from the front and the same thing from the side. So if you're telling me it's 25 feet from the side, then,
That's Hamlet, yeah.
yeah. So why don't we just do 20 and 25?
Okay. Now, and the other thing,
And
you
then
got the not
and
in PUD and PUD, they had the same setbacks, and I'm assuming
Yeah.
you're doing that for both, right?
then what's the setback on the rear on a Hamlet?
25.
25, and in the
200.
200? I mean, there's nothing else back behind, so just do 25.
Yeah,
There's a
how are you
hill.
gonna go- There's a hill. Like,
Yeah, you're not impeding anyone, so do
You're
25
not gonna go up
feet.
there and build.
I just want to keep the same districts the same.
Right.
So if somebody looks at it, it's going to be 20 from the front, 25 from all the other ends, and the sides and the rear.
Okay.
All right?
Yep.
And we'll give that to Ed Bove and make the change.
Right.
And then we approve it after he brings it back
Yeah, you just authorized to put it in the document,
in the
Right.
document.
and then that we will, whenever your next meeting is, you want to put it on the agenda,
He said it's what, at least...
you would then
14
close the
days,
public
so we
hearing
look
and
at
act on it.
So he'll write it up this week. We'll have a red line document in the places that it's supposed to be. And then Chet, by the end of the month, or the end of the week, we'll get it onto one of our meetings 14 days out.
In January.
In January.
One of the meetings in January, we'll load it up.
Will give us plenty of days.
Yeah, so we
Okay.
can't adopt anything
Right.
once
Until we
again
get it
because of this, and luckily they brought it up at the
Yeah,
planning commission meeting.
okay. Was there anything else in these, since we don't have anybody that appears to be here for
No, they're
this?
all set. There's
No, I know,
the
okay.
short-term rentals, the dimensional, which
Yeah.
we just talked about,
Yeah.
and then the lighting or whatever.
It was lighting and signage were the other
Signage and
biggies.
signage.
Oh, and I know you probably don't want to hear this, but the other night I went up the access road and the lights were on in front of Charities. It wasn't dark yet.
The timer's off again.
And once you went past Charities, they were off.
Steve, shh, they're on, okay?
Well, I know they were on.
They're usually not, okay?
They were on, and so either they were wrong or the ones that weren't on were wrong. Okay, so are we now able to adopt these?
We're not adopting anything. We're,
Still just open.
You're continuing the public hearing from then, we're going to warn the last changes, And the next time, you will take those in, you have your conversation, and then you can close the public hearing and act.
So right now,
So we're still in public hearing.
we're still in public hearing,
Okay.
we're adding these comments, and we're gonna get it into the red line document.
Yep.
And then Chet will warn the final public hearing for the zoning amendment. I mean, even the short-term rental people didn't show up, because I guess they're getting used to,
Okay,
well, they like what
so
we were
let's move
saying.
on before they get here.
All right?
So, going to number 9, if you guys are set with that, that would be the '24 budget.
Yeah, basically, just so everybody's aware, we've taken the budget that we had looked at the last meeting, and with some of the conversation, there's been several suggestions about changes to make in the budget. Those changes are incorporated into the budget that's before you right now. At this current time, based on the recommendations, we are up $205,332 from last year, as it sits, which is about 2.5 cents on the tax rate. Given we have the inflation rates we have and everything else,
And some new
we've done quite a bit.
Yeah.
We're going to talk a little bit about the long-term capital plan. You know, I didn't do the detail stuff till we know the final numbers, because I got to know what we're going to have in each one. But the major changes were, we took the budget for bituminous for this year, because we have a pretty good carryover, and we also were able to take out the Killington Road reconstruction that was planned for 2 years from now. So we went down to $100,000 for 1 year. We added $20,000 to the equipment replacement fund for a piece of equipment that we're looking at getting for roadside mowing, and also something we may share with the golf course. We had the $43,340, which was the original planned amount for this year's walkway, because we transferred all of the money from the walkway last year over into the special projects. And there's one other, and I gotta think of it.
Line striping.
Well, that's on, the line striping's in the operations section, where we put in the $42,000, so we'll be able to buy the piece of equipment and have better control about how this gets done and when it gets done.
Did someone come back and redo the bottom of Schoolhouse Road? Because
Yes.
one day I went by and it was all smeared, and now it's actually got a line on it.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, that's,
That's a whole other subject.
Okay.
so in general, you know,
So you're looking at reducing some capital stuff.
the capital stuff has been reduced about $375,000 for this year, as we will be, it will come back up, but based on some of the changes, one of the other items that went up significantly this year was health benefits. It was flat the year COVID happened, because nobody was doing anything, and now it's like skyrocketed. So we're looking to refine that a little better too. That's up about almost $200,000, so.
What's the percentage?
Well, we have two things going on in this, and I got to give you the breakdown. Actually, no, I didn't. I have the breakdowns here, but that includes several additional positions that we've included as well. So I will give you that breakdown the next time.
So you're
But-
talking about $205,000?
Yeah, it's 2.57 cents
Yeah, but 205,000 total?
total.
Okay. And the reason why the board asked you to go through the capital and some of these other things and find some savings for this year was, number one, is because we were looking to do in '25, because now we're working on the '24 budget.
Right.
In '25, we had a bunch of bonds that were going to expire, and we were looking to do a new town hall and some other stuff there, and since this other deal came up at this time, that's worked into here. So with the new town hall and with the regular increases and the health insurance and everything, I mean, $205,000 is phenomenal.
Yeah, I think it's reasonable, and the plan as it sits in this budget right now works. You know, we still have some more refinement. Mark and I have been talking about some things that we want to just do some tweaking on, but I think all the changes at this point are minor. We're just doing verifications and cleanup.
But those that worry about the capital project funds, when we get into '25, those bonds will be coming down, and this new town hall will actually be costing less than what we thought it was going to be costing in 2025.
But, yeah, it's basically, even with the upfit work that we have to do, will come in approximately half of what it was going to be for a new town hall.
Right. So this is what we asked you to do for the 1 year, and then we bounce back in the following year.
Yep. So, unless there's anything specific that you would like to see addressed, I've included the breakdowns for all of the electrical work. These are all of the allocations and how they're spread in the thing.
Extra glasses.
Yeah, you need your extra glasses for that one.
Yeah.
But, we did provide those for you so that you could,
Okay,
you could take a look at them at your leisure.
okay. Are we okay to go to golf financials?
Yeah.
Okay, golf financials, please.
Mr. Mark,
What's this?
golf financials.
Yeah.
You want to give them a little update?
You're looking at November published?
That's correct.
Okay. So, yeah, for the month, obviously, golf.
It was stuck to this one.
Is
No, it was just stuck to the other
no
one.
revenue. And their expenses ran a little bit high for November. It's the way they budgeted pesticides last year, which I'm trying to get fixed for next year. And that really is the $47,000 over November budget. Pesticides were about $48,000, so that's the biggest one-off for golf for November. For the year, they're still tracking okay. It's $80,000 to the net low. So the 67 in revenue, you come down through expenses, and you can see at the bottom, it's 83. Now, I don't know if yours has debt. If there's a debt payment on yours at the bottom.
Long-term debt's on the last
The
page.
report was run with no revenue for debt, but expense. So the true versus budget.
Yeah, this has got the 36,000 still in for the interest.
So, I mean, you can almost just add that back to your profit number.
Right,
to
as
compare
for
apples with
actual
apples.
operations.
So we're down 83. I mean, the biggest impact on that is that our cash will be down a similar amount.
Yeah, but to be fair, we're down $83,000, but have they made the payments to the debt yet?
Early in this, that's in August.
That was in August.
And then another 50 in October.
So, but they've made
They've made their debt payments.
which was about $70,000 for this year? Didn't we have like $140,000 that we split between the two?
Yep.
And they took 70?
They
So
took
when you're-
70 of the big one,
Of the big one.
and then they paid their 55 of the little ones, the 35 and the 20.
So that's $135,000, right?
Yep.
And you're telling me that they're down 80 from the previous, or 80 from their budget or
Budget.
whatever. But I don't know if they, compared to the year before, they didn't make that $135,000. If we look at if we go back to 22, right? Back at 22, their actual net was 221 at period 5. But I'm looking at, after total expenditures of the long-term debt and everything else,
Okay.
I'm showing actual FY 2022 period 5 was $222,000, 21,000, I'm sorry, for 2022. And now this year, FY 23, it's 125. But that 125, let's remember, they ended up paying $135,000 worth of debt, where the previous year they did not.
Right, but no, you're confusing two. When you make a principal debt payment, that's your balance sheet, and it's cash. It has nothing to do with an operations budget. So.
I'm just going by this sheet, Mark, that shows.
I know, but that is an income statement, Jim. It
Okay.
does not show cash.
Okay.
Okay, so it's just, there's a pure difference,
Okay.
okay?
So then if I go to the treasurer's report on the golf course account,
Yes,
at the end of November 30th, that's pure cash.
correct.
It's 562,000 balance at November 30th,
And then
for the
add,
pro shop, and then you have to add the 75,000, let's call it,
Yep.
right there. So that's
Yep.
putting us up to
37,
637,
of which
okay?
$150 is reserved for
Right,
capital.
right, but this time last year in November 30th, we were right around the same area on a treasurer's report.
It shows last year's balance.
Doesn't show it here, but if you pull up last year's balance, you're gonna find it.
Okay,
We didn't have like 600, we didn't 700, we didn't have $800,000 at the end of November last year. We were talking about the 600, 700,000.
It was in that range, I don't have it off the top of my head.
so when we did the budget for 22-23,
Right,
we were budgeted at the end of November to have $558,000 in cash,
right,
okay? We're at 488.
okay,
So the difference is $70,000,
right,
round number. Your net earnings versus budget
Right.
is 80,000.
right.
They're the same numbers. I got a $10,000 change in a balance sheet account that's affecting that. That's all there is to it. So the math is rolling. Did you understand that, Jim, or are you okay there, or you want me to go through it?
No, I understand it. I'm
Okay.
still telling you that if you look up last year's, numbers, since we're trying to compare, I'm just saying that we put $135,000, and I get what you're talking about, which took cash away.
Yeah.
Okay? And now we're sitting with 562 plus 75 minus the 150.
Yeah?
Okay? And, that gives you the 4 whatever, right?
487.
487.
637 minus $150.
Okay.
And then we take a shot at rolling cash forward for the winter.
Just so you
So
know,
October 31st of 2020.
Go to November.
Go to November, okay, give me another minute then, that's
Yeah.
October. So then maybe it's, you can keep talking, I'm listening while you're talking, so.
It's all right, I'm done unless you,
and just so you know, Mark sent this to me today, this is the cash flow projection for the golf course through the winter.
So they're looking at roughly 240 on opening day.
so if you, that top number, it shows where we are with cash, right? 562. Right? So we had a big check, it takes into your operations through November 30th, but then on December 2nd, I have a $60,000 check run that's related to November expenses, so I have to deduct that. So that's why you're seeing a lower starting number on there.
Right. So no.
We just talked about a November 30th balance,
You got a
that's higher.
calculator. So November 30th, Treasurer's report, November 30th of 2021, in the golf course, okay, there was $464,097. And then, and the pro shop, that was the pro shop.
Yeah.
In the restaurant, there was 125,000. So
Okay.
589.
And then what was the
Okay, and then at the time, there was restricted funds of 102, so minus the 102 from there.
It's the same, 487.
487.
Okay, so what I'm getting at is that year, they didn't have $130,000 worth of payments. This year, they do.
The year he's
This
talking
would-
about,
Yeah, no, that was the first year that they had a 70.
they had the 50, they
paid an
paid 50 or
extra
60
70.
that year.
50 or 60, they didn't pay the other.
They didn't pay the whole thing.
I mean,
We
they're
boosted it
holding
by
to
that
about-
other.
They're holding their, yeah.
They're holding to
Where
about
you'll
the-
see that dip is when we roll the winter forward. Now we're saying,
Right.
okay, where are we going to be 250?
Right.
Okay, so now roll next year's
Right.
income statement through.
Right.
And the town isn't going to make a contribution. What does that look like?
Right.
So that's the number that I plan to finish with David and bring to you.
All I'm bringing up to you two is that when we watch this, we're putting more cost on to them,
Right.
the bonds. So that number should be coming down.
It's going to
That's
drop.
there, it's
like a
gonna
rock.
drop, so let's not be shocked, but
Yeah.
so far they've held.
Please don't, because we might have to borrow in an ensuing year here.
Right, and that's where I was.
And that's just how the math is going to roll.
Yeah, but once again, this is something that we're trying to do to get that 1 year
Yes.
gap to where the new town hall thing was.
Yeah.
But, if they have another great year coming up, or, they may be good for 2 or 3 years, as long as it continues this way.
It's all about performance.
Yeah. So. Motion to accept the golf financials and town financials
Second.
as presented.
Favor?
Aye.
Is that down?
What? I said town and golf.
I know, but we didn't go over 10 yet.
Yeah, we did. We went through the other stuff.
Budget.
Oh, okay.
You went through the budget, and you kind of talked on all the stuff.
Okay, that's fine. As long as you're okay, that's fine.
So, motion to approve the town treasurer's report also. Any questions on that?
I don't have questions here.
I mean, we've got 6.3 million, and we have 5.7, that's to the state on June 1st.
We have one more payment
We
section
have
in
one
there.
more
One more
payment
payment
coming
coming
in.
in.
You guys-
So cash-wise, we're running fine, and we're not going to need any money to borrow to get through, and, right now, we're, from a cash flow perspective, holding where we should be. Our collections are in process. I just realized something I forgot.
Not you.
I hate doing that. Well, the issue is, when I was thinking of it, I was thinking about the tax sales. And I have an engagement letter to sign, I need approval from the Selectboard to authorize me to sign that, and that came yesterday or today.
I think are you going up to Montpelier on Thursday, or are you staying? Yeah,
So we could do a quick meeting.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll get you a copy, and then we can join in, and we can just
Yeah.
get that done. So I'll put that on the agenda for that.
Yeah, okay.
Because it's just an authorization to get him started.
Yep, good.
Okay. This is what, like, year 4 of not after borrowing money from year to year?
Yes. And year, at least 2 that we haven't, no, is this the first year we didn't borrow any money from the golf?
We didn't borrow we didn't borrow to open this year.
Right, this is the first year we didn't do that, and the year before, we only borrowed like 100, I think.
And the year before that was 250 or whatever, 2.25, I think we had.
Was it?
Yeah,
Okay.
so we're definitely on a cash basis doing much better. And then, we can I'll just parlay that into the audit. One of the things that you'll notice in the budget is the carryover money, the 378. We've talked about that before, that came from the overages in the options tax, and the Also, the fact that we were able to modify the payment when we refinanced the golf loan. So we ended up with a pretty significant carryover money. That is all 100% carried over into this budget to reduce taxes. And when you look at the auditor's report, it did come in there. Technically, if we had left it there, our current fund balance is 1.2 million, I believe. So you don't have that, that's just in the auditor's report. Because we finalized this, the draft is complete, it's been signed off. I'm just waiting for them to actually send the documents, and I will send those to you. But our current fund balance is $1,258,579, of which we're going to carry over $378, so we'll still be in that 800,000 plus range for our fund balance. 879 is the previous balance. So all of that matches. We had no negative comments in the engagement letter and in the report. So overall, I think we've done well. The only thing that was brought up in the auditor's report, which is why it's on the agenda, is the cemetery financing. It's been recommended by the auditor that money should be being handled under the town finances the same way, such as the library and these other groups where the checks are all written from the town, the revenues come in.
Not done that way now?
It hasn't been done that way. Like when if you ask Lucretia, she does it, this is how it's been since she's been here, this is how it's always been done. They have their own checkbook.
Well, that's check and balances that you just don't have somebody on and then writing checks.
Right, and Lucretia we went through and looked at the reports on how cemeteries are run in the cemetery commissions, and it does recommend that towns hold all the funds, collect all the funds. They, just as they do with the library, they don't have any input technically on how they're maintaining the cemetery and what work is getting done, but they do hold the actual checkbook so that the accountability exists. And if the select board so wishes to adopt that, we would then move in the direction of bringing those finances back under the town, and then we would be getting requests from the cemetery commission to actually make the payments.
Who's
and do those
currently the
things.
commission for the cemetery?
Right now, it's Paul Stiles and...
Oh, it's not Paul Stiles.
Not Paul Stiles, Paul Holmes, sorry. Paul Holmes. Paul Holmes and, Paul Holmes and Truman Bates.
Okay.
Are currently the cemetery. And who else?
Whit, Montgomery.
And Whit.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we
So-
don't want to trust Blair with mine. A copper.
Yeah, I think we should talk to the three of them and make
Yeah, we should have the conversation, but this was just, it was a recommendation. I wanted to bring it to the select board's attention so that, we can make a decision as to how we want to go
To
forward.
me on that there, it's just, that's running business day to day, I believe. It's the actual accounting or whatever. It's day-to-day business. The board doesn't have to get into, that's the way, if you need the board to make a motion to start having the cemetery work as suggested from, what is that, handbook?
What's it called, Lucretia? I only have the copies of the pages.
Called Digging Deep. That's the website. It's
At the cemetery, digging deep?
Digging Deep, the cemetery law.
Yeah.
So what I was looking for tonight is, a consensus that says this is, I think, something we have to look into. I would then meet with the cemetery commission and then bring it back to the select board for adoption.
I would just say that I would give my recommendation that you move forward and telling them that
Okay.
we need to take this into per digging deep,
Right.
no greater than 6 feet.
Right.
Not over.
So basically, it's the checkbook and the accounting is then handled at the town level, and everything else is
Yeah.
done by them.
I mean, following their own
Yeah,
guidelines,
okay.
and all the other departments that we have, or subcommittees, or sub-whatever.
Yeah.
All right.
And the only, the other item, two items. One is the tennis court resurfacing. We did send that back to the rec commission. They recommended the fact that, any reconstruction that's significant would be 3 to 4 years out maybe, and they have recommended that we stick with doing the resurfacing. I've signed the proposal, and they're trying to get it scheduled right now. It's July or August. It was $19,000 to get it resurfaced.
Then that's in their budget anyway
Yeah,
for
it's in
whatever,
it's in the
put
restricted
there.
fund, it's covered, it was just a matter of, we know we have to do reconstruction,
timing right?
it's deteriorating, excuse me?
Yeah, well, the timing was right and all
Right,
that.
yeah, so we,
If they believe in it, then
Yep.
I think we should go with it.
that's where we are. And just an update on the Beaver Dam, the water lowering, and we had when we first went to do the first notch last week, the landowner, the state, had requested that we only notch to one side. And then we had some channeling and some things, so the water did drop a little more than a foot. But over a week and a half, we have modified it so that we don't have any more erosion. We've stabilized the bank, and things are working well, and we're getting very close to starting to expose our culverts. Nicole's going to go out and give us a report tomorrow as to where we are with that, and then send a letter to all the all the parties, the state and the other groups. So we'll have that in the next couple of days. But I think we're looking much more
And
prepared for another event.
there was a request that Matt had about someone reaching in to pull part of a dam down?
Yeah, that's it, but that's not that's not the lower
That's
one. This
not-
is the next one up.
That's not in this?
No, it's
Okay.
not in this one.
Okay.
So just to be clear, everything that we've done has been instructed to us from the state and federal
Yes,
groups.
they have been on-site and instructed us on how to go about it, and they're monitoring the progress that we're making, and right now, everybody seems to be in agreement, because we're not getting any other emails, and we're just going to watch how this goes and slowly get
Right.
the culverts exposed.
It took us 3 years to get the permits. But everything is following the permits and the guidelines, and they've been on the shoreline, which no longer is a shoreline, but, and they're happy with the way it's proceeding.
Yeah, right now, everything is proceeding as permitted and planned.
Good.
Thanks.
Okay.
Great.
Kurt looks excited.
Report?
I'm good with the report right now.
Okay, so, well, we have 3 people tuned in. Kurt, Matt, Lucretia, do you have anything that we did not cover that you want to bring up under additional citizens' input?
I do not. This is Kurt.
Okay, we can see you there. No one else is saying anything?
Nope.
Is there other business?
Other business? No. I have executive session for personnel and legal, I guess.
Okay,
And there's not going to be any action taken afterwards.
Yeah.
okay. So we need a motion to go in?
At 7:50, motion to go into executive session for personnel and legal.
Okay,
Second.
aye.
Aye.